welcome back to Under the Table. We are here on episode 46, somewhere around the realms of like 500 total episodes. And I totally forgot how to start our recordings, and so did John. I don't know what happened to us this morning. Normally when we go, I'll say 1, 2, 3, and we clap. So I have the spike on the waveform to line us all up on when I'm editing. And I just decided to count all the way to 4 today and no clap. And then we usually have about 15 seconds of silence. And John, about halfway through that, just said, huh? So I don't know what's wrong with us.
Well, I think it's because we are recording about an hour earlier than we normally do.
Yeah. I think it's all the glue we were huffing too.
That'll, actually, that'll do it. That'll do it.
I like to wake up every morning with my bedside glue and
Bedside
get a couple
glue,
sniffs
Bedside glue.
to start the day.
Not my living room glue. My bedside
Just a couple
glue.
The
puffs.
bedside glue, yeah.
Specially made.
You just
Whenever
start
you wake
with the
up and
Elmers.
whenever you go to bed, you know?
Yeah. You start with the Elmers, and then during the day, you go to the harder stuff like the super glue. But like, your bedside glue, you don't want to get too lit too quick.
The
You
SRF
Right.
Network does not
Exactly.
encourage or condone glue huffing of any kind.
We do not. We are joking.
Around midday, I really go into the strong adhesives, you know?
Yeah, it's like rubber
Yeah.
cement.
the fine print.
Yes,
This is
yes.
satire.
This is satire. I have never huffed glue, and I will
Wait,
never
you've
huff
never
glue.
huffed glue, dude?
What about our glue huffing session like last week?
Yeah, you just keep forgetting because
Okay.
it's glue that you're huffing it.
It's like, I've never done
I
this
saw
before.
you with a giant bread bag, all right? And you were just like,
You're like,
okay.
you're like Job. You keep roofing yourself and then forgetting that you roofied yourself.
I mean, I did disappear for like 2 weeks. I have no memory of that time. I just assumed it was aliens, but I guess it
Happens
could have
to
been
the
glue.
best of us, Little column A, little column alien abduction. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll call them Elmers, you know?
Yeah, little column Elmer's. Do y'all do... Well, not so much anymore, but like when you were in school, the Elmer's glue in your hand, and then you
totally.
do the...
Yeah.
Oh, man,
the
that's
old
that.
gross fake skin shit. Yeah.
That's that good stuff.
It's like, how much can you peel off in one pull? Like, if,
Right.
Can you get your whole hand in one pull?
Yes.
That's some
Yes.
skills.
Oh, yeah.
Traumatizing.
Do they still do
good.
that? Do they still do that?
I do. I mean, yeah.
We're asking about Heath's children.
He's asking
Emily.
the teacher in the room whether they still do that.
I think that's built into our DNA.
They
you know?
sure do.
They should.
I was like, I literally had to make myself not interrupt John. Be like, can we talk about anything other than glue?
No, I'm sorry.
Just because, like, all last week and for like a week before spring break, we were out for 2 weeks for spring break. But my fourth graders, I'm the science lab teacher. We do experiments and stuff like that. And so I decided to let them have a little fun. We're going into the fourth 9 weeks, getting towards the end of the year. So I was like, you know what? We're going to make slime. And I've done that every year. Like, I've got a lot of experience at this point making slime. But God, am I tired of it, because I've made slime for like 600 kids now, and I've got
That's
to
a lot
do
of
it.
slime.
Monday is the last day that I have to do it, but I'm still looking down the barrel of another day of making like 50 slimes.
What do you...
And
Well, like, what do they do with it?
Just play with it.
Slime.
It's just
slide it.
tactile. I mean, it's tactile. I mean,
But like, okay, but do they get to take it home? Do they like?
Yeah,
is it theirs forever?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, for one, Forever's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, because slime's going to
Yeah.
dry out after you play with it for a little while, and then it's no good, and you throw it in
Yep.
the trash.
right.
It's going to last exactly one day, just based on
I'm
having
more
kids.
I'm more of a putty person than a slime person.
Yeah.
me too. I'm a putty guy.
Yeah.
Play-Doh and putty for sure.
I respect your incorrect choice, but I got it.
Goddamn.
No,
You're insane. Putty is way better
Shots
than slime.
I
Yeah.
like slime. I think slime is
Shots
cool.
fired at putty. God, no.
Yeah.
I like that crazy Arians putty. It comes in all kinds of different
Ooh la la.
designs and scents and all kinds of different
And
things.
then you mix them all
There's
together
like 500.
and just
yeah,
ruin it.
yeah.
Oh my God, no.
You guys are weird.
Yeah.
What, Heath?
I'm trying to answer the question you asked. I do, like, I think it would be kind of shitty if it's like, all right, let's make a big batch of slime and then also leave it here. Like, get out of here. So I every year I put in an order and buy a bunch of Ziploc bags of all different sizes. Thank goodness for Amazon Basics because I get so much stuff from them. But what I do is, like, my classroom has, instead of a bunch of desks, like you would think, like 25 desks for a normal teacher's classroom, I have a bunch of workbench style tables and have chairs all around it. So I have 6 big long tables that they all sit around as groups. And so I have these big glass sort of pan-shaped containers, and I'll have one at each table. And so I'll do like one, excuse me, my voice is like jamming up. I'll do like one big batch at each table and then split it up among them. And so, like, I try to make almost everything we do, at least in some capacity, like a team building exercise, because I'm trying to teach the 3rd and 4th grade. I'm trying to teach them how to resolve conflicts and how to work as a group, right? So I'll do one batch at each table, but I'll be like, okay, before I get there, you need to talk with the people at your table and decide I'll put a list of what colors they can pick because we put food coloring in it. I'm like, y'all need to figure out a color you can all live with. Notice I did not say, y'all need to tell me your favorite color. I don't really care about that. You need to come to a compromise and figure out which of these you will all not fight each other about, you know?
That's a big ask. Okay.
Right.
For real, dude.
For
They mostly get through it, but then so I'll make one big batch and then split it up, and each of them will have like a little, probably about that big. Sorry, I know it's an audio medium. Glob of slime that they get to take home with them.
Silver dollar-esque size.
No, a little bigger than that.
Yeah, a little bigger than that.
Okay, well, fuck me. All right.
It's about the size of Heath's gonads, you know?
I was just thinking. I didn't want to mention it because I thought it was over the line. I was going to say that's about the size of one of my testicles.
Yep.
I got you, Justin. I got you.
Nah, that's more of a testicle, man.
Wow.
That's a Pokemon.
I'm gonna.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I realized today you guys are too horny for me to discuss my job.
Yeah.
I don't. Listen, this is the first cup of coffee I've had in like 2 weeks. So
Really?
sorry, dog.
Yeah, you were doing the no caffeine thing?
Yeah, we offer that caffeine.
Ooh, that's going to hit hard.
I don't know how.
Well, no.
dude,
I'm sorry.
like,
I'm off of the caffeine restriction now, but
Okay,
like
there you
it
go.
is
Yeah.
so much more minimal. Like I do tea, but that's like a cup of tea,
Right.
and it's typically even still like green tea or something like herbal.
So how was that? Like, because you didn't know caffeine for how long?
About a month and a half.
Wow.
Nice.
I think I would die.
The
Yeah.
first 2 weeks were atrocious. The headaches.
Yeah, I was going to say headaches
That's
seem
what
like they
would
would be worse.
wreck me. Like,
Yeah,
I already get headaches just because I'm light sensitive, but I get caffeine headaches as well. And I think I would just be in bed for like 2
Well,
weeks.
that's
Yeah.
mostly kind of what I was doing, but that's also because I've just had like oops all body pain. So it was like
I
I'm
gotta
already.
say,
It already
it was
sucks.
obvious,
So
Emily, that you did not have caffeine for the last 2 weeks.
you
I
know.
just gotta say, I could tell.
it tracks. It tracks. But also, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give you all my health updates real quick. I went to the doctor and did like the full like blood work panel for vitamins. I've been taking vitamin D supplements for I don't know 2 years now because I've had a deficiency and. They did the blood work and they came back and was like, okay, well, you have a vitamin D deficiency. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I take supplements. Like, that's why I take like 10,000 units a day. And they're
Y'all
like,
supposed to tell me new shit.
they're like, oh, honey, no, that's not enough. We're going to give you some prescriptions. So now I
Right.
take 50,000 units a week.
Holy
That's
crap.
a lot of D.
Wait, how
Yeah,
much?
it's a lot of D.
So like the
It's G-Unit.
You
G-Unit.
Hi.
Coming in with
It's an
mimosas.
actual
Hi,
sighting,
Grandma.
not just her voice through the door. It's an actual sighting.
she got a kick out of that. She was walking away and she, you know, like she thinks I'm just talking to you. But I was like, hey. I was like, They saw you and they said, "It's G Unit." Hi.
G-Unit's going to be our next guest on STF Acquaintance.
There you go.
I won't lie. I have considered doing some kind of like very bare bones, like letting her try to figure out and understand what the basics of the game is. And I was like, man, that's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna be a lot of
Probably
work.
just want to start it on like Kids on Bikes or something like that. You know? Monster of the Week, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your one page of all the rules that you
Fancy,
need for
don't
the
let
whole
me
game.
down.
Yeah.
Here's one thing, fancy, don't let me down.
Man, I just got in the groove right there.
That song's so fucking good.
Yeah.
It really
I
is.
was transported back to the 90s.
Every time.
Oh, goodness. I love you guys. And I love this.
Jinx.
I love this game. I'm looking forward to actually getting into book 2 proper. We've definitely taken quite the interlude between book 1 and book 2.
Careful.
We had some character shifting and all that kind of stuff. I guess the big key points of the last couple episodes is that George was having a bit of crisis of identity of like what his role in the group is and what his future is and all that. And serendipitously, a Hero reader showed up in the bar, and it turned out to be Nishast, which is, you know, came with all its own particular baggage. But she did a reading for George, and you know, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Heath, but I feel like that got pretty deep into George's core and has him thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, mostly he's been dealing with a lot of emotional trauma that he, due to his work as sort of an undercover cop or whatever, has just been covering up and masking and hiding because that's what he's good at. And so after Osaze died and now with Smoke getting taken away, like it just kind of all has come to a head, and it's like, hey, there's no room left to keep pushing this baggage down into, you know?
Yeah, so that's like weighing heavily on his mind. Smoke has been captured by the Clippers. Not sure where Smoke is. And meanwhile, Phoebe has presented the Winklers with another mission or thing to investigate. There was recently reports of a flying clockwork monster flying over the streets of the Ferris Quarter.
Just par for the course here in Alchemstar.
Yeah, and so when they checked with the Temple of Bry, they found out that, you know, it was likely this old cog of the church, Alaman Kasawana.
Old cog.
Alaman
Kasawana.
Almond Casablanca.
Yes.
Almond Casablanca.
He was a, you know, almost a genius with clockwork, but he discovered some things and started promoting some heretical conspiracy theories and was kicked out of the church. The thing is, last time anyone saw him in public was at Gattleby's Pyre Night demonstration, and there was huge explosions coming from his area of the Ferris Quarter, and so they, you know, Phoebe thinks that he might have discovered the formula for Pyre Night. And so, as such, she sends you to the Temple of Bry to get some more information about Kasawana. And when you get there, you're introduced to a dwarf champion of Bry named Bruce, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And they tell you a little bit about Kasawana, but most importantly, where his apartment is. And then they suggest that they give you the permission to dig into their Asynchronous Archives, which is a kind of like a restricted section of their history and text. The interesting thing about that is that, most actual cogs of Bry are not allowed in that library.
It's so weird.
So that they don't heresy.
Yeah.
Right. But guests are permitted to peruse the church's library freely once per month for a single visit up to 24 hours. However, you guys only have 16 hours because they're about to do a very rigorously scheduled inventory.
I'm just imagining like very nerdy like preteens being like, "Dad, can you book the Church of Bry library for my sleepover?"
It's going to be a lock-in.
Right. One thing to note, I don't think I said this last episode, that you will all be required to sign a strict NDA forbidding them from revealing any information that you learn to others or to the public. The penalty for this is a submission to a Gaius ritual, which if you the Gaius ritual, and it's like basically this spell ritual that like gets in your mind and like implants this I don't know, like
What?
let me see, I want to get this right, but it like it forces you to perform or refrain from carrying out an act. So like, for instance,
Mind control.
Yeah, like Gaius to perform an act is usually conditional, such as always offer hospitality to strangers seeking a place to stay, all that kind of stuff. And so like it would then force you would like be unable to give out any information because you would be magically
enforcing the
Yeah.
NDA. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you
it's kind
spell
of like
that?
a magically binding contract or something like
Yeah.
that prevents you from even divulging that information.
Right.
Okay.
And then also a lifelong ban from all of the Temple of Rise libraries.
Interesting. Okay. So it's not really punitive, but it's also not really like a mind wipe either. It's just saying, okay, you signed this contract and you can no longer, you cannot talk about it. And if you somehow
magical
find a way
gag
around
order.
it,
Yes,
this
it
happens.
is a magical gag order.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
However, the tertiary cog Mintakis, that is the cog that is currently in charge of this particular branch of the Temple of Bry, has permitted Bruce to escort you down into these archives, which is very rare. But there might be reasons behind that. There may not be. But you would all know that was strange and rare.
Like you're sending this person into the belly of the knowledge beast
Right.
that's not supposed to be there.
I just want to say, according to just Googling it, that's a Gaelic word that's pronounced Gish.
Gish.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gish.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Gish. Okay.
I hate it.
I don't believe it. Thank you for that history. I do actually like knowing where words come from.
Yeah.
so.
Is it etymology or entomology?
Etymology.
Yeah, entomology is insects.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
We will be using the research subsystem today as you guys explore the library, but as we kind of secretly coyly revealed John's new character, we didn't really have a chance for John to describe the character and talk about the character a little bit. So I'd like to open tonight with giving John that opportunity to describe his character and kind of give whatever information you might want to give to start with,
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up because I actually forgot about it. So Bruce, we didn't really get into it last time, but Bruce would have a Brigite robe over his armored equipment currently right now. But what he would have is this kind of flowing white robe with like a goldish bronze trim. Okay, but he would have the hood down, and what you would see is this stout middle-aged dwarf. Who's got tan, weathered skin, and has a small faded tattoo on his left cheek of a warhammer. Now, you would have all been around enough dwarves to know that the warhammer would signify a representation of Torag's holy symbol. Okay? So he's got this small faded tattoo on his left cheek of Torag's holy symbol. He's got light brown hair with graying tips. And he's got green eyes. He's got this bushy mutton chops instead of like an actual beard. So like to describe that, think of like how you would see like those old photos of like various statesmen and admirals way back in the day, and you know the black and white.
Chester
photos.
A. Arthur.
Yeah. Just
very
straight
much,
up,
yes.
just like, It's the bushy mustache leading into the sideburns, you know, with no like actual like hair on the chin. You know, he's got stubble there, but, and typically, not right now, but he like, because he's on business, but typically he'll be wearing a smile. But like whenever he's on business, you know, he's very almost stern a little bit, you know. But that's kind of how he looks right now. I'll get into how he looks whenever whenever the robe is off and he's not actually at the temple.
What color are his eyes?
Green.
He did
Very
say
striking
that.
green.
Yeah.
Does he have veneers? It looks like he has veneers.
Yeah.
Big smile. He cheesing.
I mean, if it was one church or one god, they would have veneers, right? Like
Right,
Brig
right.
would have veneers.
That just makes
absolutely.
sense.
That dental technology as well.
So I noticed you chose the last name Martell. Is this a descendant of, or is this an ancestor of Vincent?
Absolutely it is. I wanted to draw that connection. There is that bloodline runs strong throughout the gap.
That's right.
That's very fun. We just started our STF and Friends arc, and I did a similar thing.
The universe of the STF Starfinder system gets smaller and smaller every day. It's like all the Shintas are related and all dwarves are related.
That's not true. They're
I know, I'm
just the
just
stories
kidding.
we tell.
I'm just
They're all
Cosmos, man.
It's just that these bloodlines are important and chosen by deities and brought together fortuitously through fate. You know,
That's
Baby,
right.
this is
That's
our
right.
Cosmere, okay? Everything's
That's right.
interconnected.
that's right.
It's like Wheel of Time a little
Expanded
bit too.
universe, man.
Yeah.
Expanding universe.
I will say, and then I'll leave it alone. But making my character, which I'm not trying to spoil anything for it, but making the character I did for the new STF and Friends arc, which hey, if you haven't, guys, check it out. We're doing a new STF and Friends Twitch show. But one of my kind of guiding principles making the character, because there's some dwarf influence in it, and I was like, will John like this? And I'm like, while I was making it, I was like, what will John think of this?
Yep. Big fan
He's
of
not
dwarves.
doing an Australian
Fan of
accent,
dwarves.
though.
I am not doing an Australian accent, so I know you've
doing
put
it
in a
wrong.
lot of work to make all dwarves a monolith and make them all Australian. But I have bucked that trend.
That is
but
actually not
the thing
true.
is,
Like that.
he's not a dwarf.
Yeah, he's actually a dwarf.
Right.
Yeah.
The Maya Lashunta, right? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're
Karasha
fracturing too
Shunta,
far.
actually.
Was Thrin Australian?
No.
Okay.
He was a very poor example of Scottish.
What do you know? See? Not a monolith.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's also a totally different universe because it's 5e. So,
True. That is 5e.
And it was pre-podcast.
All right. So, you guys make your way down into the Asynchronous Archives.
Okay.
All right.
And these are the archives, not like normal people aren't permitted down here.
Well,
Normal
we're like a
people
special-
Yeah.
Cogs
Okay.
are not.
yeah.
Cogs are not. Okay.
The people in the religion, they're like not into reading this stuff because then it would like undo the religion.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
This sounds about right. The god doesn't want their followers to learn anything.
Yeah.
I just imagine that this is just as probably this archive is probably just as new to Bruce's experience as it would be for y'all. You know, like he probably has never been down here before. You know, So this is kind of like him, just kind of like that curiosity kind of almost takes hold just a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is use the research subsystem that can be found in the GM core. And each round is going to represent 4 hours of research. So you essentially have 4 rounds to figure out what you can figure out. All right. The way it works is that every library has a couple aspects of the library that you can research, and then there are research thresholds. So you get points, research points based on your checks. So a regular success gives you 1 research point, critical success gives you 2 research points, and a critical failure gives you a piece of misinformation. In this particular library, there are 2 different things that you can research on. The Logic of Design Revision History, which is a series of outdated versions of Bra's holy text, including redacted articles and unorthodox treaties. There is also the Sands of Time, which is an enormous hourglass filled with pure quartz sand that reflects mysterious visions through its glass.
Yes.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah,
That's really
some
cool.
real cool shit right there.
right. It is. It is. So the deal here is that I think that each of you can make your own check, or you can assist, right? But you can only make 1 roll per round, which is per 4 hours. So, like, if you're assisting, you can't then also do your own research, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. We actually, several of us have a little experience with this playing Malevolence.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's very good. You can help me out then. So with
I don't know if I'd go that far.
so if you are going to research against the series of the Logic of Design Revision History, you can the suggested checks are academia lore, Bry lore, library lore, religion, or perception. Those are at various difficulties, right?
Okay.
And then the Sands of Time is also Bry lore, fortune-telling lore, occultism, and perception. Obviously, Heath, George can use the bardic lore for either of these.
I'm gonna have to.
Yep. And then I would like to go ahead and make sure that everybody is at full health and spell slots and all that kind of stuff. You've had time to rest and all that kind of thing. I will say that the Sands of Time is a little bit more risky of a thing to research on because of, it's a weird, mysterious thing.
Might see something you don't want to see.
Listen, we know how to work books. I don't really know if we know how to work a massive, magical shenanigan.
Yes. Well, I have no interest in the religious texts of Bry, but this Sands of Time has got my attention. So I think I will just see how this thing works.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that one as well.
All right, so let us start with round 1 of this, right? And you guys, I'll just go. Okay, so Emily, what is Jules going to do for round 1? Is she going to take her own research, or is she going to try to assist? And if you have, I'm open for you guys to try to lobby for a different skill, as long as it makes sense. Obviously, if it's not one of these skills, it's going to be one of the more difficult DCs. But tell me what you want to do here.
I think that. So, as far as this space, is there a lot of like the clockwork shenanigans down here?
Oh, yes,
or is
of course, yeah.
Okay. Jules would be kind of overwhelmed by just this whole place, Bry in general. And she would probably want to just take everything in. especially since we just got down here. So probably perception,
Okay.
just to see what the hell all there is in here to take in. Anything exciting, because that's really the only good.
So, question I have for you is: are you perceiving the books or the hourglass?
Probably the hourglass, because that's like a thing. You know, books are great, but Jules is a hands-on kind of person. So yeah.
All right. So I just threw that out for you. You should be able to click that perception check in the chat.
And is that private?
Yeah, it should automatically do that.
Okay.
If you just click it, it should be good.
Okay. Nope, it did not. Okay.
Okay, well, that's all right. That is a success. So that is one successful RP. We'll get to what that means later. I'm going to move on to the next person, and that will be you, Dustin. What is Amir going to do?
Spoiler alert, it means research point.
Yeah.
I would like to see if I can use crafting for investigating the sands of time. I'm thinking, like, I do have very high occultism as well, and like combine that with I'm assuming it's like an artifact, and its construction also has a hand in its effect.
Okay.
So I would like to use crafting as well. See if I can.
This is on the Sands of Time.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and give me that crafting check. If you would, also, let's make that private.
Private roll mode. Blind or private GM roll?
Yeah, secret. Well, it says blind, but let's call it secret, if you don't mind.
Okay. Secret GM roll. Here we go.
Okay. Not bad, not bad. All right, I have made a note on your. So you're studying it, and you're like really looking at the crafting of it, and like the engineering of it, and you're enthralled by its beauty and efficiency, and as you're doing it, all these visions start to kind of reflect off the quartz on the inside.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of letting my intuition mix with my intelligence and knowledge about the subjects, and just kind of like gazing on it and trying to, intuit its function or see if it can show me something I need to know.
All right, very good. John, well, we'll do you last. Heath, what does George do?
I mean, all this Harrow and seeing into the future importance of the past and stuff, like, I know we need to probably hit the books or whatever, but he too is like immediately drawn to the sands of time. And so, I mean, the only way I've got to really interact with it, I think, is with bardic lore.
Okay. Well, let's give it a roll then.
All right. Oh, that is my Hestia die. I need my George.
Get it together.
Yep.
Gotta have the right
Okay.
die.
That's a 10 on the die, so a 19 total.
Okay. You look into it, and you are fascinated by it, and you see a lot of visions, but they come and go so quickly that you can't really wrap your head around what you're seeing. It doesn't really overwhelm you, but you can't get a focus on it.
Right.
I'm sorry, what did you roll?
A 19.
I'm sorry, you do get a little focus.
Ooh.
Get a little
So
focus.
at first he's struggling, then he's like, ah!
Yeah.
A thing.
Like, it's really hard for you to like kind of quantify what you're seeing, and like right as your eyes are about to cross, it's like, and like you see like a little bit of information. And I'll tell you what that is here in just a second. Okay, and finally, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is going to pour over the contents of the Logical Design Revision history.
Okay.
And use his experiences with Brig lore. So,
Okay.
Be careful not to step over the line, Bruce.
blind GM roll, you said?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yeah,
I
but
said
we're gonna
secret.
refer to it as secret,
Yeah.
not blind, because we
Sure.
don't want to.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm sorry, you're using the Bry lore, right?
Correct.
Okay. I will go ahead and tell you that is a critical success.
Oh, nice.
Learn some
we go.
heretical knowledge.
At least the
boy,
one person
smart.
that was on task rolled really well.
Yeah. Okay.
I was
So-
actually really worried it was going to be a crit fail or something like that.
So I will say that those of you looking at the Sands of Time, you are seeing visions, but those aren't fully coming into form yet of what they mean. But you've made a lot of progress towards studying and identifying that. But our first threshold was crossed by Bruce looking at the text, and as such, you discover some various parables and regulations in Bry's holy text, the Logic of Design, that have been excised from the text's current version. So the Logic of Design book that you have, Bruce, these bits of text are not in there, and particularly, I will hand out this.
Ooh, handouts.
I don't know. It's not actually a handout, but I think I can help you guys see it. All right, let's see if that works.
Yep.
All right, so it's a new verse in the book, but it had been taken out, and it's Regulation 2.2.7, and it said 2 is the apprenticeship of bronze, 2.2 holy places, and finally the verse itself, 2.2.7. At the eastern end of the Tentacle Canyon in the Spell-Scar Desert, 180 miles from Cloud Reaver Keep, on a bearing of north 95 degrees by east, is a spherical geode of amethyst exactly 40 feet in diameter.
Whoa.
Its shape is so perfect that it is doubtless deific in nature. Even time itself seems to bend around this flawless gem, this cradle of quartz. And that's both, the cradle of quartz is both capitalized, so that's a proper noun. Like light reflecting off just a single facet of a cut gem in a box of blackest silk, Bry reveals an aspect of her perfect design in the depths of even the most torturous wastelands.
That's very cool.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Tentacle Canyon?
Tentacle Canyon in the
Tentacle
Spell-Scar
Canyon.
Desert.
Yeah,
A few
that's...
miles from Cloud Reaver Keep.
Jeez,
Yikes.
names.
I feel like that's giving us a lot of hints of what's in
For real. For real.
Yeah.
like
So
light
that-
reflecting off just a single facet.
And remember,
of a
what you're exploring here, what you're trying to research, is some of the things that maybe Casawana had found that caused him to change his tune and spout all this heretical stuff and then eventually get kicked from the church.
Random
Gotcha.
question.
Yeah.
The quartz you said that's in the Sands of Time, is it amethyst or is it just clear quartz?
It's clear quartz.
Okay. I'm just
Okay.
curious.
That was a good insight. If it was like the same kind of
Yeah.
quartz,
Yeah.
Like,
that
did
would
they
be a
take
good
it and they
connection.
bust it down to make this Sand of Time thing, and that's why they took it out of the. Sorry.
And, that-
Let
and
me- let me
that's
just-
why everybody has to sign NDAs and stuff because
Yeah.
they're stealing
Yeah.
holy relics.
I mean, just because it's clear here doesn't mean that it hasn't been processed in a way. That is a very good insight
Yeah.
to make.
Well, I mean, the spherical geode is amethyst.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
but it's called the Cradle of Quartz.
I
So
mean,
maybe it's a
amethyst is a
cradle of
quartz.
quartz with... Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I should know that.
rocks.
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 This has been rock facts
You know-
with Emily.
You know what, Emily? Hero point.
Yeah. Knowledge.
Let's do the second round here of.
I tried.
Thanks.
you
I appreciate
tried.
you. I
almost
appreciate
got
you.
it.
Almost.
Right now, you're in the running for the hero point for this episode, but we're not quite at the hour yet. So maybe in the next 15 minutes, somebody's going to beat you out on it. All right, so it's the next round of research.
Okay. So does Bruce? Before I know this is very
please.
mechanical game.
Yeah, please,
But having done the research system before, it can get very just like into the numbers. But Bruce, having found that, does he share it with us? Because we're all kind of like smitten with the sands of time.
I imagine, how I would describe that is that, so Bruce probably read that, even though that was being read by Adam. I feel like that Bruce would have actually shared that with the group and
just
actually
read it aloud.
read it aloud to the group,
Bruce is helpful.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's a point to ponder. Obviously we don't have enough data points to make an insight from that, other than that these are locations and that there's clearly a something of effect, some object of effect that's here.
Very good. Okay. Let's keep it moving.
All right.
Is it back to Jules or?
Yeah.
Jules is gonna try. Can I do perception for the logic of design?
Yes.
I would love to do that.
Okay. Let's make that a secret roll.
I figured it out this time. I did it.
Okay.
I rolled it.
You
Question
rolled
marks.
very well. That is another critical success.
You got them peepers.
Yeah, wow, that's big time. So yeah, you're looking and you're going through all these different myths and legends and conspiracy theories and all this kind of stuff. Let's move on to Dustin and Namir.
Alrighty. Are these the only two things that we can do?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking like it's a big room. I just want to walk around and see something else,
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to stick to the sands of time. Like, Emir, this probably hasn't really come up, but he is not a religious man. He spent years in Rahadum, which is an atheistic country, and he is fine with that. He does not have a very good view, or like it's kind of neutral, but kind of negative as well, right over the line, of gods and goddesses. So he doesn't care about no regulations and tomes about god stuff.
Excellent.
But
we're gonna get along just fine.
Yeah, but this like crazy sands of time thing, this is interesting. So I'm gonna keep going with that crafting.
Okay.
Okay, secret roll.
Okay. Noted. It currently feels like, you've got like the surface level of how it works, but you can't quite read, how, because it's beyond the engineering point, and what you can't connect to is like the magical,
the occultism.
The part that's like taking you out of just pure clockwork and engineering. George.
Yeah, I think, regardless of the religious aspect or whatever, George is just locked in on the sands of time. He was a little, not overwhelmed, but had trouble, but then finally kind of broke through and was able to get a little piece of it or focus on something. But with all the stuff going on in his life right now, the sands of time just calls to him in a way that the research doesn't. So same thing. Bardic lore is the only way I've got to really go about that. I realize now that I messed up your system last time by rolling a real dice because I can't secret roll that. So I'll do it on here. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
All right, here we go. All right. I rolled my die full of question marks.
Okay. Yeah. So you're still kind of lost in the sauce with the visions. Nothing really jumping out to you here.
Can I get a quick question, Adam? Did I misunderstand earlier the unorthodox tree? Is that like a separate thing?
No, you have two things that you can research against: the logic of design, revision history, and the sands of time.
Gotcha.
The unorthodox treatise is part of the revision history.
Heard. Thank you.
Gotcha. I'm glad you asked that. I wasn't quite sure either. I couldn't remember.
We learn together. We learn together.
Yeah, that's how we do. That's how we do.
Okay. Bruce.
Continue on that heretical logic of design. What's it called?
Heretical
Revision
bullshit.
history. Yeah. All right. 1 second. I thought I must have closed my character sheet.
Why would you do that?
I don't know why.
He likes to live life on the edge, Adam.
That's living life on the edge. Whew.
Well, if you're a champion, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Champion.
He's an acolyte of Brig instead of actually using the word champion.
Anyways.
So I rolled a secret roll.
Yes, you
and-
did.
You did great.
Yeah, you are digging in. You guys did not break another threshold this round, but you did make some decent progress.
Break your threshold.
You don't have to be mean about it.
I'm
Dang.
sorry. I just slipped out. I apologize.
I mean, she's holding a sword in
She
her
wasn't
hand right
being
now.
mean. She was being kinky. You know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So
Got to push those limits, you know.
these 4 hours were a little less revealing, although you do feel like you're honing in on some more information. As we come back around to the next round, we're now 8 hours into this.
we got 8 left.
Yep. Now, we are at about the hour mark. So I am going to award the hero point, and I am going to award it to Jules. So, Emily, if you would roll me a d6, please.
Bro, I will gladly roll you a d6. Watch. 6!
Oh, wow. Okay, we got a personal here. Roll me a d8.
I'm going to do that. Shoot, buddy, I will roll you all the dice you want me to. And that's a 1.
So 1. All right. This is from Porter Paladin.
Pour it around in.
OPP.
Hi.
Good morning, possums. I added that in.
Approps.
Howdy, y'all. Emily, I truly enjoy the fiery personality Jules brings to this crew. When you're in a tough spot, remembers that Jules is the party's bright ember and everything burns if the fire is hot enough. Have fun.
Oh, that was really sweet. I love that. Thank
So
you.
wholesome and unkinky.
Oh, I can appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Porter.
The wholesome kink.
All right, I have 2 hero points now. Look out, world.
Okay. We're now at the top of round 3. Jules, you're up with a fresh hero point.
With the freshest of hero points, Jules feels a little refreshed. She's had a sip of coffee. Let's take another crack at that book, because, yeah. Here. I have privately rolled a dice.
Okay.
A die.
That you definitely hone in on a particular piece of text here, and I'll tell you what that is here after when we conclude this round. That brings us to Amir. Are you going to keep studying how this thing works? I feel like you've kind
No.
of, yeah.
I have gleaned that I've learned as much as I can right now from crafting. I know it's base materials and how it was put together, but the magic part and the occultism part I don't have a grasp on. So that's what I'm going to switch to. And I was thinking, I'm seeing, like, I'm sitting there studying it with George. And he's like, you said he was lost in the sauce. I said maybe his eyes are like a little bit glazed over from seeing like some visions that maybe he understands a little bit, but then it's like flashes of others. And you said we could aid?
Yeah.
I would like to see if I can aid George in some way, rolling occultism.
Okay, well, you can do that as long as George rolls either occultism or bardic lore.
I figured he'd roll bardic lore again.
I have to roll bardic lore.
Okay.
Well, actually, I have occultism, but bardic lore is better.
Okay, go ahead,
All right. Do I need to do this blind?
please.
Okay. I mean, secret.
Okay, that is a successful aid.
Okay.
Nice.
So George, then
All right. Well, you just, we're doing secret rolls. Whenever that question mark die rolls over, you just like wink at me if I need to use a hero point.
Yeah. I'm like massage your shoulders.
That's the tough thing with hero points with like something that's specifically secret rolls is like you don't know if you need to roll.
Yeah.
One.
right.
You have nothing to go on.
It's like they planned it that way or something.
It's like they didn't really think about hero points when they were making their research system. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll re-roll it. I thought it would stay on secret roll.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, man.
So hero point.
No.
No.
Yeah, that was a natural 20 on the
Oh,
die.
nice. Perfect.
Tight.
That's very cool.
And this is on the Sands of
Sands
Time.
of Time. Yeah,
Okay,
he's like
beautiful.
locked into that because of his whole meeting with Nashast and everything.
Sure. I'll give you some information on that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and round out the rolls here with Bruce. You gonna stay on the text?
Yes, sir. With the old
All right.
big lore.
Bri, but go on.
Brie. It's Brie. It's the cheese god.
Brie.
I thought we established.
Bri.
Brig.
You feel that like if you maybe tried again, you might have a better shot at being successful here.
Oh, I can try again with an old hero, guys. Yes.
If you want.
An old hero.
It's up to you. The GM is explicitly telling you to.
Right.
It's up to you.
Your
Now,
choice.
I
Wink.
don't know if it's going to roll. You know what? I'll just do.
I got you. I can do it.
Cool. Okay. I just didn't know if it was going to do a blind roll or a secret roll.
Okay. It's a good thing that you do that. Feeling heroically researching this.
Heroically locked in. You know.
Yes. You gain another research point, which is crucial.
Nice.
Okay. Now, you guys have crossed another research threshold. And this time, the information does come from the Sands of Time.
Nice.
And you just see a bunch of myths and legends and conspiracy theories that are trying to explain Bri's mysterious deific origins. Most of these conspiracy theories concern Bri's interest in and possible dominion over time, as opposed to only clocks and clockwork creations. That it's almost hidden purposefully how interested Bri is in actually manipulating time. And you kind of see this through all these visions. Now, as you're doing all these, you're seeing all these visions, Bruce, you're looking through these texts and you turn to a page and all of a sudden you see these two like alligator eel looking things emerge from the actual text of the book. Just like they look like this.
Oh my
right,
god,
that's
an
cool.
alligator.
Oh, wow.
That's an eel,
That's
yes, an
like
alligator.
That's a
And
cobra gator.
The like
That's
text.
Naga.
awesome.
That's really cool though. The scroll, this like very long scroll, has all these like shining blue runes, as does the gator snake's neck has runes on it, and its arms have these like floating runes around it. But I love that the scroll is like a robe in a way, like it's like
Yeah,
wrapped
it's kind of a
around his
sash
shoulder
and shit,
and
yeah.
around the length of his snake tail and stuff, and then unfurls onto the ground with all these runes on it.
Yeah.
Is this thing called a runic cobra gator?
It makes me think of
Stop
like
googling the creatures.
I haven't. I'm just making it up.
It,
I like how his elbows, like all the runes and stuff, the magical
that's
runes. It's like,
sick.
Patched.
yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah,
Oh, he's
I
like
just-
missing an elbow, and the magic holds it together.
that's pretty neat.
Cool. That's so cool. Yeah, it kind of like makes me think of like the fantastical like version of salamanders, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like with a crocodile head,
Listen, guys, this fella's straight up hot. I'll say it.
I'm not on that team, but I also can't help but notice he got all them teeth, but no toothbrush anywhere.
He looks ornery. He does look ornery.
Here's the thing. I'm going to need you guys to roll initiative.
Oh, no.
It's not a friendly crocodile.
We're just trying to talk our way past having to roll initiative against this.
I hear you. It didn't work.
God dang it.
Okay, then.
I mean, my natural 20, though. That means we don't have to fight it.
Right.
So yeah, if you would go ahead and roll initiative. And
Now, can we use something other than, like, we were doing all kinds of skills. Like, I'm always looking for chances to
I hear
use
you,
the
but
system.
this
I'm
is going to be
putting
perception
perception.
because they
Okay,
kind
as
of
is
stopped
always
out.
the case, we never get to use anything but perception.
Public or secret?
Oh, it's your initiative. That's
I-
public as it
initiative.
gets, you know.
Adam, I don't trust myself ever, so I'm always going to ask.
Ditto, yeah. I wonder if that guy that was whatever his name was, Almond Cassowary, he like set a trap in the book, you know, like for us, like somebody's gonna get to the point I am to discover this, and then he sets it
like a little logic
runic
bomb.
trap.
Yeah.
Logic
John
bomb.
and Dustin, roll your initiative. It
Sorry,
should not
sorry.
take
Sorry about that.
60
Sorry about that.
seconds from me calling for that.
I was
to
just
do it. I don't
enraptured
care
with
what
his
you were
thought
doing.
on it.
No,
that was great.
No.
Yep. I have no excuse. I'm not gonna provide any.
Yeah, because there is no excuse. It's literally a simple click of the button. All right,
Click your button.
come on, let's go.
Yeah, bitch.
I'm into it.
Joke's on you. If you can find it.
That's my kink. No.
Hey, now. Okay, Bruce. Fortunately for you, you do get the jump as these things emerge from literally off the page. And one thing that you notice is that the page that they were on, they were scrubbing the text from. They were like erasing the text from the book.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
hell
shit.
no. Oh,
Bruce is
hell
like,
no.
what the fuck?
That's heresy right there. That's absolute heresy. So yeah. He ain't about that. So immediately throws off that robe and puts on the helmet, and you see him like with his light
gets
hammer, and immediately you just see like this. He's got this. Bright white full plate, cream scarlet fabrics. He's got gold trimmings, accents. He's got the symbol of a brig on his. I almost said it. The
You
symbol
almost
of
said
brig.
the right thing.
It's like a
almost said the
fixed
right
ornamentation on his chest guard, and his chest piece is like really reinforced to withstand heavy impacts. And at his waist, he carries a thick, heavy tome of the Torag's holy text, and he's got a pocket edition of Brig's holy text and his shield. Anyway. So he is already at the ready, and he just kind of like cocks his right fist that's holding his shield at this point now, and it's got like a ratchet system, and so it goes from like almost buckler size to immediately like heavy shield size.
Did he freeze? Oh, you just
he's
froze
back.
there. Look.
Oh, okay.
It has a ratchet system. That's where we left
Yeah,
off.
yeah. So the shield. So he just like he cocks his fist that's holding the shield in place, and the shield has this. It's interwoven with like various cogwork. Okay, it's a highly like intricate mechanism, and so whenever it's opens out like through kinetic force. So like as soon as he like cocks his fist, it goes from like the size of a buckler to expands and kind of blooms into a larger shield. And it through like this whole ratchet system, you know? And so like he immediately goes into stance at that. And with that, he is first going to open up with his dedication, which is called a Dread Martial stance.
Okay.
And what this is that so you put on a grim face for the battle ahead. You encourage your allies to strike fear into their foes with vicious attacks. When you use this action, attempt an intimidation check. The DC is usually an easy DC of your level, but the GM can assign a different DC based on the circumstances. And there's a various degree of success here that I'll explain whenever we get to that. So I'm going to go ahead and do an intimidation check.
Okay.
Let me see here. And do you want that a secret roll or a public roll?
You can public roll that. That's
All
fine.
right. Gotcha.
All right. Go ahead and give me the result of that intimidation check.
Okay. Let's see here. The result is 28.
All right. That is I believe that is going to be a critical success.
All right. So
yeah.
there is no critical success here. There is just a success. And it says your Marshal's aura grants you and your allies in the aura a +1 status bonus to damage rolls. When you or an ally in the aura critically hit an enemy with a strike, that enemy is frightened 1. If you're wielding a weapon that has more than 1 damage die, typically due to a striking rune, you can have the status bonus equal the weapon's number of damage dice instead of +1.
Right. All right. So, in order for you guys to benefit from this, you will need to get within Bruce's aura range, which is 15 feet.
Correct.
I don't know if you guys can see the black circle around him, but that's where you need to get into. Yes? Everybody good?
Heard.
Okay. All right. Very, very good.
So that's the first action.
Yes.
Okay. So the second action, he's going to do a... well, I can't do a defensive advance because he's already in there. So instead, he's going to swing with his light hammer once and then raise his shield as his third action.
All right.
So he's going to target the one that's the only one that's close to him, the adjacent to the northeast by 5 feet. And swing. Let's see. Oh, wait. I've got... Okay, so that's an 8 on the die, but for a total of 19.
That is a meets beats on this guy. So
Nice.
that is a hit. Yes.
19 AC. All right, perfect. Okay, let's get that damage. So that's also going to be 19 points of damage.
Ooh, this guy kind of hit.
Okay.
Holy cow.
13 total on that on the dice alone. That's not including your strength modifier.
All right,
Damn,
all
putting
of
the hammer
that-
down.
Oh yeah, literally. That all goes through. Yeah, that's a nice chunky hit, and then you said you're going to raise your shield, so make sure
Yeah.
you go ahead and click that, so you get that benefit. And it is now this alligator's turn,
Thank you.
It's official.
and it's official. And let's see it. You see that it, like, where you dented some of its scales, some of them kind of bloop, just very little pops back into place.
Okay. All right, noted.
And for its first action, it is going to strike with its jaws. It's just going to, you know, and
Rude.
yeah, it is going to do its best to fuck you up.
I mean, those are some big old jaws.
Here we go. All right, this is a regular hit. Just barely gets there. You know, you got the shield up, but I still meets beats on that hit. So that is regular hit. You are going to take some damage. You can use shield block if you would like.
Yeah, I'm not going to use
Okay.
shield block. Yeah, I'm just
all
keeping
right.
it for the AC.
So this is 14 points of damage. That's 11 piercing and 3 spirit damage.
My.
Okay. All right. 14.
I also need you to roll this will save that I just posted in the chat.
Okay. We'll save.
Will do.
Let's see here. I'm looking for where will saves. Ah, there
It's-
we go.
I
Okay,
literally
yeah.
posted it
Yeah,
in the
it's on
chat.
the left. Oh, okay.
No, like I posted it in the
Oh,
chat.
okay. That's
You
cool.
can
I'm
just
not
do it.
used to seeing it that way. All right. All right. So that is a total of 14.
That is a failure. So as this bites you and strikes you, your thoughts get all garbled and jumbled up inside. You are stupefied
Oh.
What?
for 1 round.
Oh, okay. Well,
Can you remind me what stupefied does?
I sure can. Stupefied, your thoughts and instincts are clouded. Stupefied always includes a value. You take a status penalty equal to this value on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma-based checks and DCs, including will saving throws, spell attack modifiers, and spell DCs, and skill checks that use these attribute modifiers. Anytime you attempt to cast a spell while stupefied, the spell is disrupted unless you succeed at a DC 5 plus stupefied value flat check. So, not the worst, but, if you wanted to cast your focus spell, you'd have some issues there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Second action is going to be a little bit of a tail whip. So here we go. See if I can get you on this with the map. I think I did. That's a 25 to hit.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay.
All right.
Beerus.
So here comes the damage. Again, you may use shield block if you would wish.
No.
I'll just let you tell me from now on if you want to. That is another 11 points of damage.
Okay. So that's going to be a total of 25 points.
Yes.
From the whole round.
And then my final action I am going to use to grab you.
I thought the stupefied part of
Stupefied was just part of the attack, buddy.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
So I'm going to attempt to grapple you.
Okay.
Let's see if I can succeed. I don't think I do. That's actually a critical failure. I'm not sure if that... Let's see. If a critical failure is if you already had the target grabbed or restrained, it breaks free. If your target can either grab you as if it succeeded at using the grapple action against you or force you to fall and land prone. That's your choice there. You can either grapple back at it or have him go prone.
I'd rather have him go prone.
Prone it is. So he tries to wrap his tail around you and is unable to do so and ends up tripping over his own tail.
What
and
a
goes,
doofus.
Yes, and goes prone. All right, so yes, a pretty nasty hit from this alligator, but then it trips itself up in its final action, and we're going to move to Jules now.
All right, so as soon as these things pop out and we roll initiative, Jules is shoo and pulls out her baby girl and her kukri and is going to get that into the fray action for essentially a free stride.
Okay.
And move 20 feet, or 15 feet actually, I think, up just north of the unharmed alligator and adjacent to the harmed one.
I love Foundry. It automatically put that Dread Marshal bonus on there for you.
Nice. And she's going to shoot this sumbitch that's up in her grill now. The injured one, actually.
Okay.
We're going to go, yeah, just like that.
You did not target the right one.
Fucking Poops McGee. Okay.
However, that is a hit.
Okay, I will take it. And I will damage it now. 7 damage.
Okay.
And then while I'm up here, I'm going to get a strike in with the kukri. Maybe. Dirty 20?
That is a hit.
Fuck yes. Big 6 damage. Ha ha ha. But now my gun's reloaded.
Yeah, that martial stance is helping you out with your low damage, giving you an extra +2 on all that. That's great.
I'm into it. I'm about it.
And that gets him badly injured.
Well, let's shoot the moon here and try and go one more with the kukri. I don't want to waste a bullet. This is my last one. That's a 17.
Holy cow, that hits because it's prone. Yeah, that is another hit.
And that is going to be 5 damage.
Okay, wow. All right, just chewing through this alligator. Very nice.
Jules is like, oh my God, I love eel. Guys, slice them up. I bet they taste like knowledge.
Yeah. All right, the one that hasn't been hit is obviously going to come at you, Jules, because you just walked right up into this. So here we go.
Fuck you, buddy.
We're going to do the same kind of course of actions. We're going to start with a jaw attack. Here we go. That is a hit, almost a critical, but not a critical, with a dirty 30. I'm going to ask you for a will save, please. So I'll put that in the chat. And meanwhile, you will take 12. I'm sorry, that's your will save. You'll take 17 points of damage. Now, however, Bruce, you have the opportunity here to use Retributive Strike. Is this something that you would like to do?
Absolutely, I am going to do that. Ooh. So, yeah, because I'm a champion and because of my cause, I have access to Retributive Strike. So, with that in mind, now, question: being that Retributive Strike, now, because this is still the same round technically, am I on map or not? Is there the multi-attack penalty involved here or not?
I don't think so. I think that's only on your turn.
Okay, all right, then yes, I'm going to go ahead and swing. Let's see, 8 on the die, but a total of 19. Meets beats, right?
Hold on. This enemy is not within reach of you.
Oh, it's that one. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, yeah, then never mind. That doesn't work.
Fuck you up, fam.
However,
Yeah.
you do get some resistance to this damage, which will be 2 plus the level of Bruce, which makes it, you'll have 6 resistance to the 17 damage, so you'll take 11 points of damage.
11 points. Thank you,
Bruce. The good thing
Bruce.
is that
Absolutely.
at least, that at least allows you to always give that resistance. Now, we got a new character, so forgive us, listeners, as we work through this. Bruce, you do have Nimble Reprisal, so you do have the option to throw a hammer if you would like. Because of Nimble Reprisal, you can do a range strike instead.
It's not necessarily that. That's part of it. That's part of what I can do. Instead, what I can do is I can actually take 5. I mean, if it's outside of my reach by 5 feet, I can step forward and as a reaction, and putting that enemy in my reach to make a strike for Retributive. So
why did you do that?
Well, because you reminded me about Nimble Reprisal. That's why.
Yeah, those
I
champion
reminded you,
reactions.
and then you were like, "No, that's not how it works."
Well, no, you were talking about the ranged portion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So,
all right, so I'm going to move you in. I'm going to take your initial strike there, which was a 19. That will be a successful hit.
fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, so let's get that damaged in. Damage. Okay. All right, so that's going to be 17 points of damage.
Beautiful. All
Nice,
right.
very
Got it.
nice.
So champion's in here doing that thing. Now, remember, you've used your reaction now for this
Correct.
turn. And hit with the jaw, and you failed on that will save, so you will be stupefied. Yes, Jules will be stupefied from the jaw hit. So let me throw that on there, and let's see how long you will be stupefied.
Just the one.
3 rounds.
Dang, that sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Question: does that end at the end of her next, or the end of her third turn, or does it?
It will end
at
3 rounds from this character's turn.
Gotcha.
I love this.
Cool.
Okay. Hui. All right. So second action is going to be a tail strike on Jules. And we're looking at a 19. That is going to
that
miss.
outta here.
All right.
Get
And we will, let's see, use our final action to just try to do another jaw attack. All right. Here we go. That is another miss with a 7. All right. Very good.
Tight.
Amir, you're up.
Amir and George are so far away. I didn't realize this Sands of Time was at the very north of this gigantic room. So I cannot make it to the battle in one turn. It is impossible. I've tried. I've had my ruler out this whole time. But from this circular thing, there's this gigantic table in the middle of this room.
Yeah.
That's like
Huge
truly
table.
gigantic. The thing in the middle, the big circular thing, is that like a chandelier or
I
something? What
thought
is that?
that was the time.
So that is like, there's a chandelier. The big golden circle is actually imprinted on the table, but then
Okay.
you see the little star shape in the middle. That's like a chandelier that's above.
Okay, so if I were to get on the table, I could go straight through.
Yes, you could. Yes.
Nice.
And would I have to do an acrobatics check to get on that table?
I'll just say that it'll be difficult terrain to get from the ground to the table. So it'll take you an extra 5 feet of movement to get onto
All
the
right.
table.
I think that is still going to
Actually,
be better. I mean, there's chairs right there. I feel
I
like
think-
steps up to the table.
Yeah, I think that an acrobatics check might actually be better, although it has a risk of you failing and falling. But if you succeed, you don't have to. You wouldn't lose the 5 feet of movement. So you can either take the difficult terrain penalty or try to acrobatics your way up. You know.
Okay. So the first thing I do is... Okay. I bring out my crossbow. And then I just go straight. You know, I'm trying to use the chairs around the table as kind of a vaulting off point to get up onto the table. And I'm just beelining towards this battle because I've seen Bruce get slammed down a good many times, and it's not looking good. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So that would be the acrobatics check would be in action as well.
No, that would be part of your movement.
Okay, great. All right, let's do this. I guess before I move, I'll move up right up to the chair, roll the acrobatics check. It's pretty good. 27.
All right, that
I
is
do
a
a front
success for
flip.
sure. For sure.
Two front flip.
Let's see, that was I like how it leaves my shadow here, you know, so I know
you
where I
started.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 25 feet. One action to pull out my crossbow, one action to move, and I think I'm far enough away, or I'm close enough, to give a nice strike. Wait. If it's past your range increment, I can still fire, right?
It's just
You
like
can?
a penalty, I think.
Okay, it is a little bit past my range, like 5 feet. So yeah, I'm gonna fire with my alchemical crossbow, but it doesn't have any bombs inside of it right now. Right now, it's just a crossbow.
Shoot him! Oh, this is appropriate. Shoot him, Lesmith! Shoot him!
It
It's
is
an alligator.
Go Brigada. Okay, here he goes. I don't think it's an eel. It doesn't look like an eel. Immediately, like, it is not an eel. Look at the
Look at the fins!
look at the fins. Okay, here we go. I'm confused.
Why?
When I strike with my alchemical crossbow and hover over it, it says plus 10. But then when it rolled, it's plus 8.
Because of the range penalty.
Perfect.
However,
Found.
the 18 is still a hit because it is still prone.
Wonderful. All right. Thonk. Thonk. Got pretty good rolls.
Donk.
12 damage to the near death one by Bruce.
Your foe has fallen.
Wonderful.
Now, everybody change your target.
Thank you, Emily.
All right, and that's my turn.
That's your
That's
whole
a
turn.
good
That's a good
turn.
turn. You got a kill off of it. All right, George, you're up.
All right, I'm going to move towards the table as well. I'm just going to take the extra 5 feet to get up on the table. I don't want to do acrobatics. 5, 10, so that would be 20 to get onto the table.
Okay.
25, so that's my first movement. I'm going to move up to sort of the edge of the table. This is a very large table. Like, very large. It's like King Arthur shit.
For real, dude.
But I get almost to the edge of the table, kind of looking down at my allies. I might be oh no, I'm thinking, I don't know why I'm mixing up and thinking I'm a short race. I was like, I'm a regular
y'all's
human
height.
height. I was like, oh, I'm almost your height. And I'm like, no, I'm taller than everybody. Right? So that's 2 actions. My third action, I'm going to do the bard shit. I'm going to try to put up my bardic inspiration.
Okay.
So we'll start with lingering composition. That's my job.
No, Amir's actually just doing that, you know.
Okay. All right. So I need performance.
You guys are level 4 now, right?
It's trying to roll initiative
Well, now I'm doing
when I
that.
do performance. Yeah, it says token action HUD. George Davala has already rolled initiative. Whenever.
Well, just roll it from your sheet then. I don't know why that's. I don't know why that's doing
I'll just
that.
roll a die. Okay, 17, and I have a plus 10, so 27.
That is
Tight.
a regular success.
Take it.
Is it? What's
Yep.
the crit at this point?
Higher
Well,
than
the
that.
DC for level 4 is 19, so.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Wait. Really?
Yeah.
Like
The
with a
DC by
17 on the die, I don't get my 4 rounds?
I'm just telling you what the DC by level is 19 for level 4.
Okay. I mean, that just feels
Standard difficulty.
a little ridiculous to be rolling a 17 and not getting it, but whatever. I'll get 3 rounds then instead of 4. So then I'll just go ahead and click my freaking Inspire Courage. That's what it is, not Bardic Inspiration.
Boom.
No, we both did it. I was trying to do it, trying to be
Pretty.
on top of my stuff and put my own down.
Damn, getting waffled here.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And I put it on the mirror anyway, so
Yeah, I got
Yeah, I was like,
Doing
never
great.
try to be helpful
it's a light
again.
show in here.
Okay, but that's my turn.
All right, that's not a bad turn though. All
Pretty
right,
turn.
Bruce, you are up at the top of round 2. Let me make sure I go ahead and get you your Inspire Courage.
All right.
All right, there you go.
Someone take a picture of this. Just 'cause somebody's going to end up asking, like, "Oh, show us how big that table is."
table was big.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Anyway.
I got to see this big ass table.
Right, exactly.
You could fit
Someone's
the
gonna
entire
ask. I'm
Davala
just
family
calling
at
it
this
already.
table.
Yeah.
Yes, that's impressive.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bruce is going to go ahead and begin his onslaught on this next one, or continue his
Okay.
onslaught. So, let's get that light hammer on this. Now, I have him targeted, right? Yeah, okay.
No, you didn't, but it's
I
fine.
had him targeted. Okay. All right. And that's 18.
That is a miss.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and just keep on trying, even with that map. Okay. So, second swing, second action. It's going to be 13 on the die for a total of 21.
Now that'll hit.
Nice. Okay. All right.
About it.
For the damage, got a total of 17 again.
Nice.
So
right?
juicy. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
so
juicy.
juicy. All right, and for the third action is going to raise his shield.
Beautiful. All right, Jules, you're up.
Bruce is just showing up and showing out over here.
right, that's right.
Okay.
I mean, he's
okay.
like in his domain, you know. This is like the
I mean,
Brig area, you know?
Yeah.
Great area. Y'all are killing me. So what hopefully will occur now is that I will, in fact, kill this guy. I would love to shoot it at him.
Okay.
Okay, great, good, cool. Adam, I did in fact shoot it with a natural 20. That is a-
Wow.
This is what your class is designed to do.
Yes. Huge.
Yes.
See some damage, mayhaps. So,
Ooh, that's
only
good.
30.
that's good.
Okay.
30 damage.
Is that D8? That's just piercing, right? There's no. You don't have any precision.
I mean, this is like my flintlock. This is baby
Yeah.
girl.
Even look.
Got
Even if it
fatal.
was. Yeah. It's totally dead.
So
Totally.
can we
Totally
just
dead.
let me just set the scene for you. So like
yeah.
Set it
Jules
up because you're
is
getting the "we'll see you" moment. All right.
Oh,
so
never mind.
yeah. No, go.
Jules is just like, that's enough of this, and like shoves baby girl up under the jaw of this alligator thing.
Oh, God.
And says, "I think we've learned enough." Click. and just blows its head off.
Yeah. Good line.
Yeah, the head just explodes in like dark reddish green mist, and the body and tail just wiggles for a little bit and then like falls over limp. And we will indeed see you.
Oh, see ya.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Thanks for listening to the STF Network. If you want to hear more from us, check out our other Starfinder and Pathfinder shows at thestfnetwork.com. That's thestfnetwork.com. And support us on Patreon to listen to our bonus podcast, including our homebrew adventures and Tom Talks, our behind-the-scenes show. Stay groovy, possums.